What is up, Revved Up Rebel Nation? I am finally back. I am out of YouTube jail, finally. I was going to do a stream on Thursday, and then I realized that I boneheadedly made other plans that I could not cancel, and so I'm doing a special stream today, a Saturday stream, because I am finally out, and I always feel bad when I miss you guys for a couple weeks, and it's good to have the gang all back. So who do we have here? Old man, what is up? Tracy James, as always, the Revved Up Rebel Nation stalwart. Welcome back, and Op12 is here. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Man, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. And in fact, I mean the YouTube suspension probably actually came at an ideal time, considering that I am right now in the thick of the fight for my job at the college that I work for. I can't speak too much on it, but I am. Let's just say some things have gotten pretty crazy, and some of the. I guess I can't really say too much, but it's just been very mentally exhausting. It's been very mentally taxing, and it has been a lot to keep up with over the course of the past couple weeks, and a lot of preparations, work with my representatives and stuff like that. We got Texas Crusade in here. Welcome. And Robert Whaley, what's up, Raw Dog? Welcome back to Revved Up. It is good to see all of you guys in here. What have y'all been up to for the past couple weeks? Because I know I haven't really been able to keep in touch with all of y'all. So let me know how you guys are doing, what you have been up to, and what you think is going on right now. Because a lot of crazy news today. We're going to be talking about the John McAfee situation today, which, holy balls, that is a very, very interesting situation. And little reminiscent of one Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, John McAfee was not an Epstein-like figure, but of course, he had been talking about potentially having a lot of information on government officials and threats against his life and things like that from these people. So, somebody who had very powerful enemies. That's pretty much where it comes down to. And I am not convinced John McAfee killed himself. So let's see. Robert Whaley says, wondering where Ram was, what I've been up to. Is what you've been up to, man. Yeah, locked up in that YouTube jail. And, I was going to start doing more short-form videos on Odyssey and Rumble and BitChute and all those places, but I've been so preoccupied with what is going on with my job and with my school that it was just more. I just couldn't get around to doing as much as I wanted to do. Texas Crusade says, I'm new, so not a lot, but preparing for some Texas border mayhem. We're going to be talking about the border a little bit today. Apparently, Kamala Harris has gone down there and got very snippy when she was asked why it took her so long to get down there. And I think that whole situation is hilarious because I think the Biden administration was essentially just throwing Kamala Harris under the bus with that. They knew that it was an untenable situation. It was something that she was not going to be able to manage very well, and that there were no real clear outs where she could walk away from it with her reputation intact. So we all know there's no love lost between Jill Biden and Kamala Harris. Richard Jones says, even said he wouldn't kill himself. Yeah, he got a tattoo on his arm that had a dollar sign and said whacked. And it said that he was getting messages from people saying that we're going to kill yourself, which is, a very dicey way of saying suicided, Arkansided. I wonder if he has the dainty fingerprints of Hillary Clinton around his neck anywhere. Let's see. You guys are talking about Texas. Yeah, great state of Texas, man. I'm a little jealous of Texas's new constitutional carry law. Of course, here in California, we basically have no carry legal whatsoever, which really fucking sucks. But one of the big things about the new Texas constitutional carry law is that they are saying that you can buy Texas-made suppressors without actually having to file an NFA tax stamp, paying the money, getting it registered. That is some big dick energy coming out of Texas right there. I love to see that. We need these sorts of things to go to the Supreme Court because what we need is universal constitutional carry. We need to appeal all of the gun control on the books, get rid of the Gun Control Act of 1968, get rid of the National Firearms Act of 1934. all of that stuff. We got Chapel Platt in here. What is up, dude? Kamala Harris is a turd. Yeah, she absolutely is. Robert Whaley says, Trump rally is on fire. I know. Dude, I feel like I messed up by even scheduling this stream because I feel like most of the people that would be in here are probably watching the Trump rally instead. But when I put out the video announcing that I was going to do a stream today, I forgot that Trump was doing his first big rally, being back, sort of a campaign-style rally. And so hopefully I'll still get a decent turnout in here, but I certainly can't blame anybody for tuning in to watch Donald Trump instead. Now, I would love to have made this a Trump rally watch party, but that is precisely the reason I found myself in YouTube jail, was for hosting the Trump watch party at the North Carolina GOP convention. So Texas Crusade says it doesn't take effect until September 1st. I mean, still cool. I mean, you got to wait a couple months, but that which, sucks, but at least you guys have that in the pipeline. So that's very, very awesome. Old Man says waiting for Trump here in the Buckeye State. Nice. Ohio. I mean, Trump won Ohio handily in 2020. That was one of the states that they could not fortify. They could not fortify Ohio against President Trump. Let's see. Richard Jones says, considering buying just threatened us all with nuclear warheads and F-15s. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about that today too. Because Joe Biden and the Democrats in general seem to have a very lackluster understanding of our constitutional rights. And especially when it comes to the Second Amendment, but even the First Amendment, because we see a lot of these Democrats are really pushing for big tech to continue the censorship. I think that there needs to be something passed where publicly traded corporations need to be treated like public institutions and that they cannot deny constitutional rights. The whole concept of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all these places being private companies, they're not private companies. They are public companies. If you're publicly traded, you shouldn't have the same sort of protection that some, mom and pop bakery in Colorado that doesn't want to bake a transgender coming out party cake should be afforded. Very, very different situations. Robert Whaley says, doing my best to watch you both. Well, keep me updated if there's any big things that Trump says that I need to know about during this stream. I'm going to go back and watch his speech after this stream. But if he says anything that needs some commentary or needs some talking about, just let me know in the comment section and we'll address that. But, Trump rallies are always a blast. They are always a blast. A lot of fun. Let's see. Robert Whaley says Trump won Pennsylvania, too. I would not be surprised if Trump won all 57 states, according to Barack Obama. Let's see. Tracy James says, Ram, they have no understanding of the basic mindset of the people. No, and that is a fantastic point. And that was something that I was going to touch on, is that you see all of the regular, everyday Americans coming out and blasting critical race theory, blasting all of this transgender ideology, and what do? They double down. They rub our faces in it. They shove it down our throats. They do not care what regular, everyday Americans think. They have an agenda, and they are going to force that upon us, whether we like it or not. And they are completely detached from what what the populace wants, what the voice of the people is. I don't even know if it's that they're fully detached from it. I think they just don't give a shit. They don't give a shit, which means that we have serious issues with the representation portion of our representative republic, because the people that we elect tend not to represent us. Let's see, Joe Biden. Robert Whaley says Joe Biden was third after Trump and firewood for sale in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania is where Donald Trump brought 57,000 people out to some middle-of-nowhere airport hangar, and I got a feeling that it's very tough to believe that Biden actually pulled off Pennsylvania, especially when you saw that Trump was up by, 850,000 votes when they, stopped counting on election night. But, we will see what comes of that. We have a lot of these we have a lot of these audits. The audit in Arizona is finally completed. We're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. We've got a bunch of other states that are also looking to do audits themselves. And, man, it is going to be a crazy situation when you start seeing these states decertify the elections. And we have to ask ourselves, well, what do we do now? What do we do now? Are there any mechanisms that allow us to reverse what has done, or is this just going to fix things for future elections? But either way, it is going to cause a massive amount of chaos. You can only imagine the reeing and screaming that the Democrats are going to do when it comes out that Trump actually won some of these states. Robert Whaley says fortified, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and anybody who read that Time Magazine article, which YouTube gave me a strike and took down my video of me just reading the Time Magazine article where they talked about insider people within the Democrat Party. They were talking about how they fortified it, how they did all these different things, which I don't want to get too much into it because I just got out of YouTube jail, and I'm not looking to get back in it right now. Texas Crusade says Biden goons are dropping off infected immigrants into unsuspected communities all over the country without getting towns' permissions. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Mayorkas is talking about, well, we need to give a path to citizenship to all of these people that came here illegally. I think if you came into the country illegally, if your first act in this country was to violate our own sense of sovereignty, I am not sure that you are citizen material for this country. We got Tessian Rousseau here. Tessian, all the way from Romania. Good to have you back here. Says these EU cunts have fully embraced the woke. Hungary said fuck no to pride, and now the EU shits want to sanction it for harsher sentences for pedos. Oh yeah, I mean, all you just got to remember, the left are pedos, the left are pedos, the left are pedos, the left are pedos, the left are pedos. I mean, they are all about that shit. And, Hungary is incredibly based. I think Poland is pretty based at this point, too. A lot of these Eastern European countries we are starting to see are really becoming bastions of this sort of anti-woke mentality because they see this shit for what it is. They see that it is cultural Marxism. And these places have themselves faced the devastation that Marxist ideology brings on a culture, on a nation, and to the people. Op12 says you can have watch parties, just don't put it full screen. That's how Crowder does. Yeah, well, Crowder also has half-Asian lawyer Bill Richmond on his side, so he has a much stronger apparatus for fighting YouTube censorship than I do. All I have is my little button where I can say, refute the claim, and they always reject. Every single time I've gotten a warning, a strike, or anything like that, I always refute it, and it gets wiped down every time. They don't even consider it. They won't even tell me specifically what I did. Let's see. So, as always, we are going to start out with a little bit of Clown World commentary. But first, let's go to the intro, and I will see you guys on the other side. Every time who I am, well, I am. I'm a man. 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am. All right, so Texas Crusade says General Milley of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is shown to be a woke communist sympathizer. Concerns they may try to purge the military till it reaches what they want to oppose American citizens. And I think you are right. I'm going to be covering that today, too. Because I have been off air for a couple weeks now, I'm going to be going back and kind of covering some of the bigger stories of the last couple weeks. So there might be a little bit of redundancy in stuff that you've already heard about, stuff that you've already watched. But there are just very important things that I want to cover. But of course, we have to start with some of the Clown World commentary. And so we're going to start out here with this article from the Daily Wire. Hold on, I might need to do a little live editing. I thought I had this set up beforehand. Let's see here. Live editing is the hallmark of any true professional in this game. I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Let's see. All right, here we go. So we have this this Iowa teacher goes on a wild rant about not being able to teach critical race theory. And, this critical race theory thing is becoming such a huge sticking point because this is this has become one of the hills to die on in fighting the cultural Marxism, this and the transgender ideology. And, you know, we need to point out that the thing isn't against transgender people. It is the ideology that pushes forward this notion that men can be women, women can be men, that there is no such thing as sexual difference, that there is no difference between men and women, that we are just interchangeable widgets, and that, you know, a man can just, you know, in sports, fail to compete with the men, say he's women, and then go and dominate women and completely take over their space. To use the leftist term, they love to talk about their spaces. But this Iowa teacher, so several TikTok videos from an Iowa teacher went viral on Wednesday, in which she ranted about not being able to teach critical race theory and being forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance before school. You know, for the longest time, these people said that, oh no, kneeling for the anthem was not a show that they hated America. It was just to protest police brutality. But these people show their colors every damn day and show that the truth of the matter is that they just hate America. They hate everything that Western civilization stands for. They're mostly ugly, lonely, bitter, and disgruntled people who think that who are finally finding a sense of belonging in this cult of woke ideology. So Megan Geha, a special education teacher in Des Moines East High School, who goes by the name Miss Magoo on TikTok. I mean, Miss Magoo is fitting because she seems to be blind as a bat when it comes to being able to see all the illegitimacies of these Marxist ideologies. So on TikTok, voiced her displeasure at the Republican Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds. Republican Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds signed on June 8th prohibiting teaching of CRT in schools. And so let's listen to what this bitch has to say. And you know, they're always. Why is it that these lefties, they always tout, like, you know, individualism, and it's all about me, you. It's all about, you know, empowering yourself. They all look and think and talk and act the same. They all, like, it's so weird that you can just look at somebody these days and typically tell what political side of the aisle they are on. It's just absolutely, it's bizarre. It really is bizarre.
This is what's bullshit. Today is the first time our country has recognized Juneteenth. It's a national holiday, and yet I'm getting ready to go back to school in the fall, and my governor has put into place some ridiculous legislation that many governors across the country have put into place, such as I can't teach anything divisive, I can't teach critical race theory, and I can't teach about racial equity. This is at all public schools, colleges, and universities.
Notice the crazy eyes.
Teachers, in the past, we've been activists. After this shit show of last year, we really need to stand up and do what's right for our kids right now. So this is a call to action, teachers. We got to stand up and fight for our kids because this is bullshit. We can't lie to them.
So she even says that, you know, we've been activists, and that is one of the biggest problems with all of this, is that teachers should not be political activists. Teachers are supposed to educate their students on the, you know, if it's American history, they're supposed to teach the facts of American history. They're not supposed to teach these subversive ideologies that denigrate everything that America stands for. And, you know, just look at her eyes. They're darting around all crazy. All of these lefties, they have these crazy eyes. They have the crazy eyes. They have, you know, bugging out of their eyes or bugging out of their heads, and, you know, darting all over. She almost looks like she's like a paranoid schizophrenic when she's giving this speech or doing this video. Now she has other videos too. And again, look at the fucking crazy eyes. Look at the crazy eyes. Doesn't she look like a paranoid schizophrenic?
The other thing that my governor has mandated for next year is that every classroom, it's mandatory that we all have an American flag, and it is mandatory that we all do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. You're gonna be hearing from me a lot next year. The other thing that
So she's pissed off that they have to have an American flag. This is America, and you work for a publicly funded institution. Yes, you should have to have American flags at American government-funded education that are paid for by the American people, by our tax dollars. These people are insane. And she had this other one.
Let me tell you a little bit about the population of my school. 51% of my students are Latinx, and many of them are undocumented, and many more have parents who are undocumented. So when they come into my classroom and see signs that say no human is illegal, they don't need to know who I voted for. I don't need to tell them. When my black students come into my classroom and see my Black Lives Matter posters, I don't need to tell them. When my LGBTQ plus students come in and see my pride flag, I don't need to tell them, because they know that I have used my critical thinking skills and have decided to vote for whoever is on the side of fighting for human rights. So no, I don't need to tell them, because they know that I am using the privilege I was born with to fight for them, that I am an ally for them. So yeah, that's not political, that's human rights.
No,
Let me tell you a little bit about the...
And this is one of the things that you see them talk about all the time. They say, oh, this critical race theory stuff, it's not political. The transgender ideology, it's not political. It's absolutely political. And as I'm realizing right now in my fight for my job with the school, is that what they do is they take groups of people, they weaponize them by making them protected classes, then turn them into hot-button topics so that they can silence, sequester, ostracize, and get rid of anybody who that they see is not going to go along with their orthodoxy. That's exactly what they do. That is exactly what they do. Tessian Rousseau says, what is Latinx? Well, that's it's so funny because all of these people are the same ones that talk about cultural appropriation, and then they take it upon themselves to de-gender the Spanish language. So they say Latinx, so they don't say Latina or Latino. They're de-gendering the language. And then when you go and you ask any sort of Latina or Latino person what they think of the term Latinx, like 98% of them are like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? But you cannot actually expect any sort of coherency from the left wing, because they will sit there and talk cultural appropriation all day and colonialism all day. And yet then they will go and they will take the language of these people and take it upon themselves as white liberals to go ahead and de-gender an entire language of an entire group of people. Really stupid. Really, really stupid. Let's see. Tracy James says, equity, Ram, hand me the barf bag. Yeah, and notice they never talk about equality anymore. They never talk about equality. They talk about equity. And equity has to do with the equal distribution of the outcome. It is not about equal opportunity. It is about equal outcomes for different people, which when you start talking about that, equal redistribution, that's markedly communistic. That is Marxism. There is no way around that. There is no way to defend all of this critical theory without there's no way to defend it without just admitting that it's fucking communism. Just if you are for this stuff and you're for communism, just say, okay, I'm a communist. Just say that. Just say that you're a fucking communist. But that is why they have to use these critical theories as a way to subvert the institutions of Western civilizations. Because if they say straight up that they are communists, if they say straight up that they are Marxists, they know that that will stop any sort of progress they are making. So they have to use these different covers for Marxism, for communism, to subvert people's mentality, and they are relying on the stupidity of people, the gullibility of people, and the naivete of people who do not realize that these critical theories are all rooted in Marxism, and that Karl Marx himself said that anything that exists deserves to be harshly criticized. That is where critical theory comes from. It comes from the Frankfurt School. It comes from the Gramscian wing of Marxist theory. Let's see. Robert Whaley says, when I smell the cat piss on her, I don't need to ask who she voted for. Yeah, no, we all know who you vote for if you are waving the, what do they call it now? The progress flag that is the rainbow flag, the transgender flag, and then it has black and brown stripes in it all together. It's just, they're trying to push that as the new American flag. And I don't understand how a lot of black and brown people don't see that and be like, why the fuck are you lumping me in with people that mutilate their bodies and don't know what gender they are? Why why am I in that group? And it's because these people do not look at individuals and see individual humanity. They look at groups of people. They see monolithic coalitions that they can exploit for their own power. Go read Manning Johnson's Color, Communism, and Common Sense. It was written back in the 40s or 50s. He was a high-ranking black communist in the 1940s, rose all the way to the highest ranks of the Communist Party in America, and then quit when he realized that the Marxists who were just using him and black people as a tool to spread their message, and that none of them even actually gave a shit about black people. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Libs. Back to libs of TikTok, because this Twitter site or this Twitter page is an absolute goldmine for leftist insanity, and I think this Twitter page should be required reading or required viewing for social studies teachers, so that they can show people this is what happens to you when you buy in to all of these leftist ideologies. Now, I'm already messing up my live editing. So let's see here. Yeah, this is insane though. Listen to this woman.
The baby woke up and had some sort of violence in her heart. I don't know what it was, but she has been losing her mind all day. And it's interesting because I'm watching her lose her mind, and then I'm watching the preteen respond to that by trying to make her happy. And I have had to actively tell him, stop trying to make her feel better, stop responding to her tears. It's so interesting to see the conditioning of people responding to white girl tears happening so early. She's 5, and she's got an 11-year-old coming after her trying to make her feel better when she cries. We have to unlearn this whole business that white women crying is going to get them what they want in life, because that ain't it.
The girl is 5 years old. 5-year-old kids cry. And what she's saying is that because her own daughter is white, that she needs to neglect anytime that she is upset. Now, I understand that, every time a kid cries, you can't just use that to let them get their way. But that's not what this woman is saying. This woman is saying that she needs to unlearn as a 5-year-old that her white woman tears are some sort of tool of oppression. This is insanity, ladies and gentlemen. It's a mental disorder. Liberalism or leftism is an actual mental disorder. It is a prion disease, like mad cow disease, that gets into the brain and just shuts it down, rots it out, and zombifies the person who follows these ideologies. Texas Crusade says, the majority of these people supporting communism in America will be killed by the communist globalists once they take power. All communist dictators have done this. Those that betray shall also pay. Yep. I mean, I have said that countless times on this channel. I always say that these people that are pushing for this ideology, these Black Lives Matter activists, these Antifa activists, they are going to be the first ones put up against the wall, blindfolded, and shot, because they are the ones who know the most about organizing revolutionary movements, and they are now going to become a threat when they realize that they have been duped, manipulated, and used as useful idiots for those that are just seeking to take power. Robert Whaley says, that's what big brothers are supposed to do. Yeah, exactly. Big brothers are supposed to look out for the little sisters. But no. Now that is a form of white supremacy, because white girl tears are a tool of white supremacy to oppress minorities. What the fuck are these people talking about? Let's see. Old man says, Biden may take my guns, but he can't take my blueprints. Can you say Gatling? Joe Biden will not take my guns. He can try to take my guns. It will not happen. From my cold, dead hands, as Charlton Heston said. Tracy James says, it's damn child abuse. It is child abuse. So much of what the left does, especially since we've seen them really up their push on going after little kids with their ideology really is child abuse, especially when you start talking about this transgender ideology. I mean, you get kids as young as 2 years old that are being pushed to transition to another gender, as if these 2-year-old kids have some sort of well-formed idea of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman. These decisions are being made for them when they do not have the ability to consent. They can't do much of anything in the world, yet they're old enough to go ahead and mutilate their body, take carcinogenous cancer-causing hormone therapy treatments, and all this other bullshit. That stuff turns people's bones and ligaments into paper. It's really damaging to somebody's health. If a man pumps himself full of estrogen, it is going to rot away at a lot of his tendons, his ligaments, his cartilage. It's going to mess with his bone density, and it is going to give that person cancer. Robert Whaley says, "Is there a waiting period? Is there a waiting period for F-15s? Background check, asking for a friend." No. Come, go get yourself an F-15. We are going to need those, according to Joe Biden. That is going to be. That is how we are going to defeat him, is with F-15s. He has given us the blueprint for defeating his liberal agenda, and I say we take his advice. Texas Crusade says, the ATF and FBI don't have enough people to take all the guns. They would need the entire U.S. military, and defections and resistance is already happening in the military. Yeah, well, I think I don't know whether that was you that said it earlier or whether it was somebody else in the comment section that said that they are, it looks like they're trying to run out a lot of the based conservative Republicans from the military. We've seen the woke Army ads, the woke CIA ads, all of this stuff. It almost looks as though they are trying to attract leftists into the military, because that's what they do. It's like Rudy Duchka said, long march to the institutions. They have to infiltrate all of these different institutions in order to take them over and then recalibrate them in their own leftist ideological image. Oh, God, this one is just so cringe. And the narcissism of these people. There was that other video that was going around. I don't have it pulled up, but it was this girl who was sitting there. She was having a discussion with herself the same way this person right here does. And they were saying, some days my pronouns change. So some days I go by this. Some days I go by that. And, it's not that hard to keep up with it. Just read the color-coded bracelet that I'm wearing, you bigot. The narcissism. What makes you think that you deserve to have other people go out of their way to cater all of their life responses to you and your sensibilities? So let me just watch this.
Hi, I'm Ty. My pronouns are they, she. Oh my god, cute dress. Oh, thanks. Amber Lee, look at his dress. Oh, you mean their dress. Oh, whatever. Whatever. Come on, it was an accident. Okay. Ow, what the f***? Oh my god, did I just hit you? Yeah. Whatever, it was an accident. Oh, accidents can hurt, huh?
God, these people are fucking insufferable. These people are insufferable. The whole snootiness, the whole idea that you owe it to me to get on board and to learn what my pronouns are. Learn my pronouns, and you have to me. Get fucked. Get fucked. Nobody cares about you that much. That is the biggest thing. Is it, they like to accuse us of hating all these people. No, we don't hate anybody. We just don't give a shit. We don't care enough about you to hate you. We do not care enough about what your pronouns are to hate you for them. We just don't give a shit, and we're really annoyed that you think that we owe it to you to learn all about you, and so that we can cater our lives to serve you. Yes, we owe it to you to learn what your pronouns are, to read your fucking color-coded bracelets, to know what to call you that day. Get fucked, you self-important, narcissistic little bitches. Robert Whaley says, my pronouns are fuck/your/pronouns. Yes. Yes, exactly. Let's see. Texas Crusade said, yes, there was a purge and progress in the military, and I do not doubt that, because that was kind of the last bastion of where conservatives really still held the strongest ground in the institutions was in the military. But they cannot have that. No, the fuck they can't. And, all right, I debated whether to even show this one or not, because I know we're all getting tired of these COVID vaccine parody songs, but you know what? We need to remind you guys how cringe these people actually are.
If you wanna hang with me, I'll give it to you easily. You just need to get that shot. Getting herd immunity is good for the community, cause biology is high. Antibodies now, antibodies wow, keeping COVID at bay. If you're tired of wearing this, and listen to the scientists and sign yourself up today. You want to be with your baby, your new grandson.
Enough of that. But what kind of man, like, if your girlfriend came to you and said, I want to shoot this COVID parody video, and she asked you to do all of the shit that this dude in here is doing, which is, very effeminate. The lack of self-respect for men these days is absolutely mind-boggling. The lack of self-respect, and it all comes from them being, degraded with the whole idea of toxic masculinity, and then they end up doing this just weak, just such beta shit right here. Tessine Russo says, for fuck's sake, I was hoping for no cringe singing today. Well, I cut it off early, and I think that's going to be the last of the cringe singing. But now, and what's so funny is that these leftists, it seems like every single day they're coming up with some new buzzword, some new thing to reinforce their cultural Marxist ideology, and some new term that we have to learn and keep up with and all this shit. And the new one is white rage. White rage is all the rage now. And
white rage, or white backlash, is the violent resistance that some white people resort to when there is some progress made in regards to racial equality. It is the doubling down on white supremacy and racism when it is made evident that we are not going to tolerate this system of oppression anymore. It is a reminder to people of color that white people are still in power, and they should be. It is an attempt to maintain the hierarchy of power when it is made evident that this hierarchy is actually really harming marginalized identities. Christian backlash is the violent response that some Christians resort to when it is made evident that Christianity is abusive. It is the demonizing of anybody that attempts to speak against Christianity. It is the destruction of their reputation, and it is the silencing of these people at whatever the cost. It is what some abusive Christians resort to be able to protect the good reputation of Christianity. Rage and backlash are dangerous, and their manifestations harm people.
Well, what do you call what you guys are doing with your anti-white, anti-Christian fervor? Is that not a rage and backlash to white people and Christianity? It's so duplicitous, the way that these people frame things. So duplicitous. And the reason I wanted to play that is because it goes into an anti-Christian screed, which is one of the things that we really need to understand is one of the roots of this cultural Marxism. And I've said it many, many times on this channel before, that in Marxist countries, communist countries, they always have to get rid of organized religion. They have to get rid of organized religion. They have to get rid of a belief in God among the populace, because there cannot be a higher power than the state. And, you look at why. Okay, so why does she choose Christianity? Why does she say that Christianity is abusive when the freest, most prosperous, most open-minded and tolerant society was built and formed upon Christian values? Well, for one, it's because America was formed on Christian values. If you want to talk about oppressive and abusive, why would you not bring up Islam? Why would you not bring up fundamentalist Islam that says that gay people should be thrown off of roofs or stoned to death, or that women can't even drive and all this other stuff? Christianity is the least abusive, least authoritarian religion out there. Yet they choose that as the whipping boy, as the whipping religion, I guess you could say. for what they want to tear down because it is the fundamental backbone of Western civilization. And none of the stuff that they're talking about oppressed societies, oppressed people, oppressive culture, rage and backlash and all this stuff, it's all made in bad faith. It is all disingenuous. It is all just a way to, excuse me. It is all just a way to tear down the culture as we know it. And that's what critical theory is. See, we always focus on how critical theory and how all of these people have incoherent worldviews. That's because they don't actually have a worldview. Critical theory does not actually posit any sort of substantive debate or substantive idea about how a society should be founded. All it does is light a fire to whatever culture and ideas are there before. It is a purely destructive force that creates and builds absolutely nothing. Nothing. We got old Insane Skara. Hello. Good to see you, my Viking brother. Good to see you back. Yes, good to see you. I have not seen you on here in quite some time. You are from Norway as well, right? I believe we spoke before. And I mentioned that my dad was from Stavanger. I think you said you were from Oslo. Am I remembering that correctly? Let me know in the comment section. But anyways, great to have you back in here. Robert Whaley says skull. Yes, skull. Whenever I'm with the family, that's how we don't say cheers. We always say skull. Now let's see. Let's see. I was talking just a minute ago about this is how they abuse children they indoctrinate these kids when they are too young to have any understanding of what they're being taught. And just listen to this shit right here.
You don't know if someone is a boy or a girl. How come you call them they?
Because it don't assume gender.
Yeah, we don't assume gender. And what is gender?
What's gender?
Gender is how society defines
How society defines
boys and girls and everything in between.
You know that it's brainwashing when the mother is speaking word for word with the little child and that she has gotten this child to memorize her own ideology, her own twisted ideology, and she's too young to even pronounce these words, yet she is still being indoctrinated with this idea. Now, the one hope that I have for this indoctrination of the kids with this left-wing ideology is that when they come of age, when they come to reach their teenage years and they start to hit their rebellious age, they're gonna rebel by going full fucking MAGA. They're going to rebel against the wokeness of their parents. So the only problem, though, is that's too far down the line for a lot of these people. But we are already seeing that a lot of these teenagers that are growing up today are looking to be the most conservative youth in the history of America, or at least in our living history. They're becoming more and more conservative because conservatism is the rebellion against this ruling ideology, this ruling class of people that are pushing this nonsense on them. And so they rebel by saying, you know what, I like Donald Trump, MAGA, yeah, let's wave American flags. That is the new rebellion. That is the new counterculture. That is the new way you stick it to the man, which is what teenagers love to do. I mean, hell, I come from Georgia. It was very conservative when I was growing up, and so when I was a teenager, I was a bit of a lefty because it was just me rebelling against what there was. It wasn't me actually knowing what I thought or thinking anything that I believed in. It was just punk rock me doing punk rock things, rebelling against whatever I was raised up against. So if there is a silver lining in indoctrinating all these kids, let's hope that it comes in the form of them rebelling by being woke. Not woke. By being mad lad MAGA patriots when they get older. Let's see. Op 12 says, we don't care enough about you to hate you. The best way I've heard it put. People don't think about others that much. Even when the left is talking about helping others, it's for their own self-image. Exactly. It's that they are so disingenuous. They are just looking for the adoration of the culture when they post these virtue signaling TikTok videos and tweets and all this stuff. They are looking for acceptance. It is a desperate plea to please like me, please accept me. That is what they are doing. But yeah, we don't care enough about you to hate you. That's really what it comes down to. We don't hate you. We just don't give a shit about you. Go live your own life. We're living ours. We don't have the time and the energy to spend all of our days worrying about everybody else's fifis. No, not going to happen. So did I vote for Trump in 2016? What's your, I am ashamed that I went libertarian in 2016, mainly because I was in California. Like I was Trump over Hillary any day of the week, and I was more of a libertarian back then. I am far less of a libertarian after seeing how far the left has gone. I'm much more of a staunch conservative at this point. But I went Gary Johnson in 2016 because I don't think I was paying enough attention at the time, really, to what Trump was saying. But yeah, I am ashamed to say that I went libertarian in 2016. But in 2020, I can guarantee you, I was Trump all the way. And it didn't take long for Trump to win me over. I wasn't really as engaged as I am now. Like, I've always been, fairly politically engaged, but I wasn't following it as closely as I do now, or as I started to after the 2016 election. And so I didn't really know enough about Trump. And my whole thing was that I wanted the libertarians to be in the debate stage for the next election, because you had to reach a certain vote threshold in order to get the libertarians even on the debate stage with the Democrats and Republicans. But at this point, I mean, I look at what the Libertarian Party is now, and it is an absolute joke. I mean, the Libertarian Party cannot be taken seriously. Gary Johnson shouldn't have been taken seriously either. It was really just a vote for Trump in California wasn't going to do much, so I figured I'd just throw one on for Gary Johnson and the Libertarian Party. But I do regret that. I should have voted Trump in 2016. That's very, very. At least I'm honest about it, right? But I wear it like a scarlet letter of shame. Let's see. Robert Whaley says, just had to pop into Right Side Broadcasting for a sec. Make Harris a hooker again. Again? Did she ever stop? Well, I mean, did she? I am not convinced that she ever stopped being a damn hooker. I think Kamala Harris, we all know how she got her way to the top. Insane says, no problem. Thanks for sharing. I know, I am, like, retrospectively, I am embarrassed, but that I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, that I went libertarian. I thought that I had a sound reason for doing so at the time, but looking back, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Robert Whaley says, you think that's bad, Ram? I voted for Bill Clinton once. Robert Whaley, I hate to do this, but you are now banned from the channel. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. We all make mistakes. But the first step is to admitting you made the mistake, to admitting that you were wrong, and I was goddamn as wrong as I could possibly be in 2016. Because now I look at Trump as the greatest president of the modern era. So Tracy James says I voted for Obama. God, do we need to have a confessional booth here at Revved Up with Ram Thorburn? Do we need to have a confessional booth here? Is this where everybody comes now and they're begging for forgiveness for their past political sins? Tracy James says, sorry, I know I let y'all down. Hey, we all make mistakes. I mean, if I voted for John McCain and Mitt fucking Romney. God damn. I mean, I didn't really have any other option other than Obama, but I mean, really, whether you voted for McCain, Romney, or Obama, you were voting for the same fucking person. That was the same vote being cast. Didn't really matter. Texas Crusade says this is a good channel. Thank you. I'm glad you are enjoying. I'm a little rusty because I haven't done a stream in a couple weeks, so I feel like I'm kind of at a B game level right now. So hopefully by the time I have my next show on Tuesday, I'll be back up to that A game level. But thank you for coming in here, and I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Robert Whaley says, in my defense, a girl asked me to vote for Clinton. I was going to vote for Ross Perot. Well, I would have knocked you for voting for Ross Perot. In fact, that might have been a better option than either Clinton. I mean, definitely better than Clinton, but H.W. Bush. I mean, the Clintons and the Bushes are essentially the same fucking family. All they did was take their public positions and say, all right, let's see, you're going to have the R next to your name. You're going to have the D next to your name. You're going to take this position publicly. I'm going to take this position publicly. But back behind closed doors, when the American people aren't looking, we're all going to do the same fucking thing. We're all the same party, because the neoliberals and the neoconservatives were just one uniparty, and it's a big club, and you ain't in it, and all it was about was pulling the wool over the eyes of the electorate. So they divvied up all the public positions and then acted completely contrary to their public positions in private. And they did that so that they basically could not lose an election. It didn't matter whether the R or the D won the election. They were going to be doing the same thing. And that is why I think we have such an insane increase in all of this woke ideology, is that the uniparty got kicked the fuck out in 2016 with Donald Trump. They all of a sudden, for the first time since George Herbert Walker Bush, for the first time, they did not have a member of their own uniparty in the presidential office. And so I was having this debate with another person who is a Trump supporter, but they don't want Trump to run again in 2024 because they think that Trump is so divisive. Trump was really not all that divisive. It was the media constantly badgering Trump that was divisive. Yeah, and so my message to them is, don't let the media win this game of division. See past that. See past that. Tessie Russo says, did Kamala slurp her way to the top? Did she slurp Biden's juice? Well, just ask old Willie Brown. Just ask old Willie Brown out there in California how Kamala Harris got her start in politics. Now, we've got this teacher here. Now, this is, I think, an interesting admission that I think she doesn't realize that this is exactly what we know to be happening. Let me just play it, and then I'll break it down. Let me play it, and then I'll break it down.
Hey, great question. So, first of all, as a high school history teacher, critical race theory is not something that I explicitly teach. I don't teach that term. I don't ever use that phrase. But it's something that's basically woven throughout my entire U.S. history class. It really is just the idea of a few things. One, that race is a social construct that still impacts our systems today. Two, that systemic racism is still around and is still a thing, and that there is still white privilege. There are obstacles that white people don't have to face, that people who are not white still have to face. And it's the idea that, the way to solve racial disparities is not to go tell people individually not to be racist. It's to look at the structures and the systems that are in place, especially the laws, and figure out how to make
So it's to tell everybody that they're racist.
Those more equitable and more fair to all people. And you really can't teach U.S. history responsibly without including these elements. You can't talk about Bacon's Rebellion, Jim Crow. You can't talk about the war on drugs. None of that without including this type of thing.
I learned all about that stuff when I was in school without critical race theory, and they just taught it through a factual, this is what happened, this is how things were. But what's interesting is that she says, we don't directly teach critical race theory. We don't use that term, which is exactly the point, because that's why it works through subversion. They take the ideologies and the nuances of critical race theory, and they subversively weave them in to their class lectures, to their syllabus. And so that way, people don't really even realize that they're being taught critical race theory because they are never actually told that it's critical race theory. She's saying, it would actually be less of a problem if they presented, okay, here are essays by Derek Bell, the founder of critical race theory. This is called critical race theory, and this is what it entails. It would actually be a little bit better if it was overtly talked about in that sort of representation. But no, they don't do that. They slip it in under the radar, and they brainwash and subvert people's mental processes by not really letting them know that, okay, these are the ideas that this is the vantage point that we are taking, that we are teaching our lectures from. So they just weave it in there subversively and let it do its own destructive work from there. Oh my god, this is just fucking hilarious. So, me reacting to DeSantis banning critical race theory. Nothing puts a smile on my face like a pissed off, screeching and screaming leftist who just took a fucking L. Who just took a big ol' L. Yes, I love to see that. I love to see these screeching, crazy leftists who cannot control themselves whenever something doesn't go their way. And it is just a beautiful thing to see. It is just a beautiful thing to see. I don't know if I want to even show this one. This one is so gross. This one is so gross. You know what? I had to see it, so fuck you guys. You have to see it too.
Hi, I'm Eliana, a recovering cis person. And I'm here to tell you all about trans. Trans is a brand new medicine by the creators of Queer. If you're feeling sick with the sisses, then just take trans. It'll scare the sisses right away. People will say, wow, I don't know what gender that person is, but I'm weirdly attracted to them and I don't know what that makes me. They'll also be saying, wow, I really don't know how to feel about my own gender identity after seeing them being so confident. What does that mean? So try trans today.
Oh my god. Yeah. Trust me, nobody's attracted to you. Oh, guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go get a melon baller so I can scoop my eyeballs out. I will be back in just a couple minutes. Let's see. Tash God of Fools says, glad to see you streaming. Welcome, Tash God of Fools. I think you are new here. Yes, I was in YouTube jail for a couple weeks there, so normally I only do my streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but since I wasn't able to do a stream on Thursday because I absent-mindedly made other plans that I couldn't backtrack, I decided to do a special Saturday stream. So thank you for coming in here. I'm glad to see you in the channel here. Let's see. Ol Insane Scara says, race/races wasn't something that came out of UNESCO in the 1950s. I don't know exactly. Tash says, why did you play that? Well, because I always do the first half of the show mocking and making fun of the whole clown world. So yeah, and also I was a little vindictive. I had to see it, so you guys have to see it now too. I know, I'm an asshole. I'm a prick. Hop 12 says, hey Ram, you gonna try trans? No, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. That was the biggest warning to never try trans. You don't want to be like that motherfucker right there. Do not want to be like that motherfucker right there. No, you don't. Now, this is really disturbing, this video right here.
Ultra question, so there's one less problematic white person in the world. Hey, Jess.
Yes.
Hey, girl. Do you ever microaggress me?
I sure do.
What happens after you microaggress me?
You let me know, and I apologize, and tell you that I will try to do better next time.
Are you afraid of me?
No.
Are you offended?
No, I'm grateful that you value our friendship enough to even say something to me because you don't have to do that, and so I'm grateful that you did.
Be open to feedback. It's how we change the world.
Because all great friendships are rooted on very public struggle sessions. Yes, that was a struggle session that this poor girl willingly submitted to doing on her POC friends live stream. Yes, just make me let me sit here and say, yes, oh, I'm sorry I microaggress you and I do all this stuff. I am guilty of all of this. Just, please forgive me. I mean, God, the lack of self-respect these people have. I hurt for them. I hurt for them that you would willingly subject yourself to that sort of thing, that sort of public humiliation where you have to publicly denounce your own sins of being a fucking white person. You got Zach Horton in here, says, howdy y'all. Sorry, I just woke up. Wow. That's okay. Okay. I'm not sure where you are, but I guess, sleep whenever you get your sleep in. Let's see. Tessie Russo says, is that white girl a pussy-whipped lesbian? Probably. Holy shit. Yeah, I think you might be right about that. All right. All right. One last CRT thing before we get into the news. We're going to cut to our little intermission and then do the news. But
if there was a scientific breakthrough and we realized that we had been teaching photosynthesis all wrong, we would update the curriculum. Republicans blocking critical race theory want to continue miseducating our kids, all in the name of patriotism. So now back to the beginning. Teaching kids the truth about U.S. history lays the groundwork for them to understand racism.
Except for the fact that the 1619 Project, Hannah Nicole Jones, who I think that's her name, who actually wrote it, admitted that it wasn't actual history. So, yeah, that's way to teach the truth there.
And yes, that means learning about white privilege. But I have to tell you, learning about white privilege isn't as scary as Republicans make it seem.
It's not about being scary. It is about creating false narratives and pitting different people against each other because of their race, which is something that we worked decades upon decades upon decades to undo and to avoid in this country. And these people are just taking us right back to the old racist days of the Jim Crow South.
Was founded in the attempt to form a more perfect union. Making our country more equal is about the most American thing that you can do.
But pitting different races against each other does not do that.
And kids love learning that they have the power to make the world a better place. No one's blaming them for anything. Have a chance to help the next generation actually move on by teaching the truth about our history and allowing kids to think critically about what a more just future looks like.
Think critically. They are not thinking critically. They are just using critical theories. They're cynical theories, really. I've been trying to read this book. It's by James Lindsay and Helen Pluckrose called it's called Cynical Theories, and it has critical that's crossed out and replaced with cynical. It's kind of difficult. It's a little academic for me. I am I'm half a retard, so reading overly academic studies, I get a little lost in it. But it really brings up a good point that these critical theories are really all rooted in deeply held cynicisms. And I have never liked cynical people. I always like people who can see the positive side of things, not the people who just want to criticize, tear down, and just watch the world burn, which is what these people are. They do not actually hold anything constructive. That's why it's called critical theories. All it does is criticize. Everyone's a critic. I mean, go look at what's the best movie ever made by a movie critic? No? Yeah, because they don't make fucking movies. They just criticize them. That's all they fucking do. It's the same thing with these academics and this critical theory. They do not actually promote anything constructive. It is all just destruction, even though they call it deconstruction. They throw that con in there, that con, to con you into thinking that there is some orderly dismantling of what's going on. No. It's a fucking stick of dynamite into the institutions, into the very fabric of our society. Can't fucking stand it. Olin Zanesgara says, I can't listen to these brainwashed, uninformed clowns. My blood boils. I try to avoid it as much as possible. We shouldn't get angry, though. I understand the sentiment and the reaction to get angry when you see this stuff. But the fact of the matter is we need to mock these people. We need to laugh at them. We need to rise above the cynicism ourselves and find the humor and the absolute incoherence and the absolute idiotry. Idiotry? Is that a word? I don't know. I just made it up. Fuck you. Idiotry. Idiocy. Sorry. Idiocy. The idiocy of these people. We need to be able to laugh at them. We need to be able to find the humor in it, because that is how we are going to win this. We need to use Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals against the radicals. And he always said that mockery is an incredibly powerful tool. We need to... We need to mock these assholes into oblivion. President-elect Poopstain, welcome in here. Says, salty is legion, power. Yes, the salty army is legion, and so are I guess the Revved Up Rebel Nation isn't legion, but goddamn it, we are growing. We are growing, and we are becoming more powerful with every single stream, so long as YouTube doesn't give us the ban hammer. But, which, they want to. They want to. Yes. Shout out to all of the members of the Salty Army, the Razor Force, the Clankers, all of the. It's so funny. It's almost like we have different internet clans rising up to fight against these people. It's really funny. We are but a small and humble clan here at the Revved Up Rebel Nation, but please share this channel. Share it with your friends. Let people know. We all know that YouTube is asshole, and they do not let me grow organically, and they do everything that they can to stifle my growth. So if you do want more people to hear this content, if you do want more people to hear this, it is on you guys to spread the word and get the word out about this channel, grow the ranks of the Revved Up Rebel Nation so that we can fight these motherfuckers day in, day out until we are victorious. Let's see. All right, guys, that is, it says Hog, Hangover Gang. Yep, Hangover Gang 2. Hangover Gang 2. We are all coming together against this shit. All right, guys, we're going to go take a quick little intermission here before we start talking about the news.
Every time who I am, how damn, I'm a man. 6 shooters in both my hands. I'm a cold-blooded brother, a real bad mother. Watch out, honey, here I am.
All right, so let's see. The first thing that we want to talk about is the Biden speech on gun control. Because we all know that Biden is an absolute jackass on gun control. Just buy a double-barrel shotgun and just shoot it aimlessly, and whoever's there will run away. The fuck? Are you trying to get people killed, Joe Biden? Are you trying to get people killed? Wouldn't surprise me if he was. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if he was. Let me see. Let me get this article up here. And, all right, so Biden says gun owners, this is from American Military News. Biden says gun owners would need F-15s and nukes to take on the U.S. government. During a Wednesday press conference announcing his new gun crime prevention efforts, President Joe Biden said the Second Amendment has always had limitations, and those who think they need weapons to overthrow a tyrannical government would need F-15 fighter jets and nuclear weapons. Now, I mean, just listen to the fucking pudding brains going on trying to get this message across to the American people. I mean, it is a word salad of mumbled, garbled nonsense.
And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, and all this stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you want to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it. The last time we had data,
I can't even listen to Joe Biden without falling the fuck asleep. I mean, talk about a boring man. I have had some trouble sleeping recently, and I usually put on some sort of like white noise type stuff to help me fall asleep. Maybe I just need to put on some Joe Biden speeches, and I will be out like that. Yeah. Robert Whaley says, whispering creep. What a weirdo. Yeah, he's been doing this thing where he whispers into the microphone. I've always found that people who, there used to be a trend back about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, where commercials would have kids whispering to try to make things sound like magical or something like that. And it always just skeeved me out. But yeah, I mean, first of all, he's absolute mumbled, garbled nonsense in what he's saying. So Biden's comments appear to paraphrase a quote from Thomas Jefferson, who said, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." As Biden argued that the Second Amendment has always allowed for limitations, he claimed that from the day the amendment was passed, you can't buy a cannon. We all know that's false. And also, there is no wording in the Second Amendment that calls for a limitation of access to weapons. In fact, we always talk about gun control. The Second Amendment really isn't just about guns. It's about arms. That means we should be able to own hand grenades. We should be able to own RPGs. We should be able to own F-15 fighter jets. We should be able to own howitzer tanks if we want. We should be able to own any sort of armament that we could possibly get our hands on. That is what the Second Amendment calls for. So, Biden previously made the claim that individuals could not own cannons around the same time period that the Second Amendment was passed. In May 2020, the fact-checking resource PolitiFact rated Biden's claims about owning cannons false and noted instances of private ownership of cannons during the time period, including by American privateers who operated privately owned vessels with privately owned cannons to attack other nations' ships for profits. Yes, absolutely. I believe there was a letter, I think, in the Federalist Papers, I believe. Was it James Madison or was it John Adams? So no, I don't think it was the Federalist Papers. I forget where it was. It was a letter to either James Madison or John Adams where somebody was asking, are we allowed to have cannons on our privately owned ships? And the response was, I see no reason why you should not be allowed to have cannons on your ship. But, the Democrats always rely on low information, gullible people. That's why they want to get 16-year-olds the right to vote. And really, we need to stop saying the right to vote because it should be the privilege to vote. We really need to be more. Really need to carefully monitor how we frame things because the Constitution was not written to enshrine democracy and the right to vote. Voting should be a privilege of those who deserve to vote. It should not just be like, oh, I'm gonna take a minute from playing video games and I'm gonna go down and vote, despite the fact that I have no idea what the fuck is going on or who these people are. Why should that person have a say if they have not invested the time and resources into learning about our civics and what is going on? Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's get back to... So during his Wednesday remarks, Biden also claimed that most responsible gun owners see no justification in owning firearm magazines that can hold 100 rounds. Most responsible gun owners see no justification? How many responsible gun owners did you talk to? I think he completely made that up out of whole cloth. Because most responsible gun owners believe in the premises of the Second Amendment, and we know that it is not about limiting our rights. It is about us being able to have whatever weapons we fucking want. So he says, talk to most responsible gun owners and hunters. You know you're being gaslit when a politician brings up hunting in reference to the Second Amendment. You know you are being gaslit then. It says, they'll tell you there's no possible justification for having 100 rounds in a magazine of a gun. He said, like I've said before, what do you think? The deer are wearing Kevlar vests? The Second Amendment does not protect your right to go hunting. It protects your right to defend yourself against a tyrannical government or just regular run-of-the-mill criminals. But most importantly, a tyrannical government. So most responsible gun owners who understand the Constitution, which most of them do, understand that and would tell you that is the justification for having 100-round magazines. That is, it's so funny when you have these people who represent the tyrannical government trying to tell you that regular everyday Americans are on their side in terms of giving up the rights to be defended against them. I mean, holy shit. Olin saying, Skara says, off-topic question, are you following the possible Dong Jingwei defection to the USA? I've heard a little bit about it, but I have not been following it closely. I don't know enough about it to actually comment on it. So I will look into that, though, because that is interesting. President-elect Poopstain says, if the left gets free college, I want free government-issued M4s. Careful what you wish for, because you know they're going to give you some fucking high points. You know they're going to give you some damn high points. They're going to give you a high point 9mm. That's what they would do. That's what they'll give you. Here, take that, you pleb. You fucking pleb. But we have this fact check here. So the verdict is false. And, okay, I guess we actually kind of covered this saying, we covered this in the other one, but just a little more. So Biden said the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of the people who could own a gun, what type of weapon you can own. You can't buy a cannon. Biden's claim about being allowed to purchase a cannon is not new. Okay, so I'm getting a little redundant here. I'm going to skip over this one. I don't want to just keep repeating myself. Give me just a moment here. But of course, and I did a whole stream on David Chipman, the man that Joe Biden has nominated to run the ATF, who is an anti-gun activist and also a proud member of the Waco siege. Fucking psychopath. I mean, you just look at that guy, and he looks like a comic book villain. So Biden creates a new ATF gun trafficking strike force. Creates new ATF gun trafficking strike forces and gun control crackdown. So President Joe Biden's administration announced additional steps it is taking to combat gun violence in the United States on Tuesday, including the formation of 5 gun trafficking strike forces to stem the flow of guns moving across state lines. According to the Department of Justice, the new strike forces will be launched within 30 days to help reduce violent crime by addressing illegal gun trafficking and significant firearms trafficking corridors that move guns to New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, the San Francisco Bay Area, and Washington, D.C. Now, this is why Benjamin Franklin said that those who are willing to trade a little bit of liberty for a little bit of security deserve neither and shall lose both. Because you have people like Joe Biden. You have these deep state, big government apparatuses that will not bat an eye in telling you that the limitations of your rights are for your public safety. So if you fall prey to that rhetoric, if you are such a sucker that you believe that rhetoric, then you do not deserve those freedoms and you will lose them, because at the end of the day, we all know that the true agenda is to disarm the people so that we have no recourse against them. Why do you think they go so hard after things like the AR-15 and the AK-47? And they call them assault weapons. Out of one side of their mouth, they say that, nobody should have a weapon of war on the streets. And then on the other side, they say, if you're going to fight the government, you're going to need F-15s and nuclear bombs. And then on the other side of the mouth, they say, oh, no, but the federal government can be overthrown by a bunch of unarmed patriots being led into the fucking Capitol on January 6th. They make no fucking sense. Everything that they say, there is no coherency. There is no coherency to their messaging. It is all about what can I say in this moment to get the political win that will push my agenda forward. Their agenda is to disarm us. It has nothing to do with public safety. And if you believe that it has anything to do with public safety, then you're what we call a useful fucking idiot. So the forces will be a coordinated effort between U.S. attorneys and the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives, as well as state and local law enforcement. The administration's efforts also include establishing zero tolerance for rogue gun dealers that willfully violate the law, which will result in the revocation of gun dealers' federal licenses. For one, you should not need a federal license to sell guns. It should be the same as selling an apple. You got $1, I got an apple, here, let's swap them. Oh, you got $1,500, I got an AR-15, here, let's swap them. That's how free the gun trade should be. Now, the administration said that the ATF will revoke gun dealers' licenses the first time they willfully violate federal law, including transferring guns to a prohibited individual, failing to run a background check, falsifying records, failing to respond to an ATF tracing request, and refusing to permit ATF to conduct an inspection in violation of the law. So now you have to, as a gun dealer, you are forced to engage in the ATF's own investigations. You have to become an unwilling participant in an ATF investigation. So the crackdown comes as states across the country pass laws nullifying federal gun laws in their states. In Missouri, Governor Mike Parsons signed into law House Bill 85, allowing state gun laws to overrule federal gun laws and making law enforcement liable if an officer violates an American's constitutional rights to keep and bear arms. I love that law. I love it. I love it. Man. Missouri, be proud of your governor for that move. Be proud of your governor for that move. That is an awesome, awesome move. Great to see them doing that, and that is what we need. We need a good old-fashioned pre-Civil War nullification crisis, a la John C. Calhoun. You know, we need a nullification crisis because when the federal government has expanded its reach of powers to become too broad that they overpower the states' rights to self-determination, then you need nullification in order to enforce the system of checks and balances that keeps the federal government's powers in check. They are a runaway train. They want to stay a runaway train, and they want to run you the fuck over. They want to tie you onto those tracks and run that fucking train right over you. Well, we need states that are willing to come in and say, you know what? Cut off my federal funding. Suck my dick. We are going to do what we are going to do because this state has its own sense of, its own ability to choose the direction of how we govern. Love it. Love it. Now, I just want to show some of the reactions to Biden's whole F-15s and nuclear bombs thing. So he says, Thomas Massey says, weird flex, but okay. Threatening nuclear war with Americans. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, we got Clayton Danner in here. Clayton. I cannot read that one, but that's fucking hilarious. I cannot read that one, but Clayton, that is hilarious. That one gets me every time. Oh, man. That's great. That's great. All right. Now, this is what so Ian Miles Sean comes out. He says, Dear Biden, hands up, don't nuke. I love it. I love it. Hands up, don't nuke. Oh, man, really playing on the Michael Brown hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter catch line from, 2013 or so. Dana Lash says, wait, so a guy dressed like a Burning Man reject and a buffalo head and his motley crew of Red Dawn LARPers almost overthrew the entire government, but you can't own a semi-auto because the mighty government will nuke you next week? Pick a narrative. Hands up, don't nuke. Yeah, exactly. Pick a narrative. But they, like I said, they trust that the people are low information and are not well informed enough or smart enough to catch the contradictions of their messaging. We aren't that fucking dumb. We aren't that dumb. So Dinesh D'Souza says, okay, so Biden says people need F-15s and nukes to take on the U.S. government. Ordinary weapons are not sufficient. So how come a couple of hundred unarmed protesters stand accused of seriously attempting on January 6th to overthrow the U.S. government? Because they didn't. Because they are using that as a, I don't know, what's the right term I'm looking for? They're using that as a dummy to fill in for, I don't know, shit, I just lost my train of thought. They're basically using that as a proxy. That's the word I'm looking for as a proxy to be able to go against any based patriots. They're trying to create the narrative that we are domestic terrorists. It's fucking bullshit. If the people wanted to have an insurrection on January 6th, they wouldn't have showed up unarmed. I guarantee you that most of the people at that rally, at that protest, they're gun owners. If they were seriously trying to host an insurrection, they wouldn't have left their guns at home. Oh, but you have to actually rub two brain cells together to come up with that conclusion, which rules out fucking Democrats. So, Democratic Rep Eric Swalwell made similar comments to Biden's 2018 tweet responding to gun rights activist Joe Biggs. I think Joe Biggs is actually in prison right now for January 6th. So basically, Eric Swalwell wants a war because that's what you would get. You're out of your fucking mind if you think I'll give up my rights to give the government and give the government all the power. Biggs tweeted. And Eric Swalwell replied, and it would be a short war, my friend. The government has nukes, too many of them, but they're legit. I'm sure if we talked, we could find common ground to protect our families and communities. No, there is no common ground with these people. Finding common ground with the left, inch by inch, is what got us into this situation. We are no longer finding common ground with these people. They don't want to fight. We have no common ground with people who hate America, who want to take away our rights. No, we are not going to compromise with these people anymore. We are going to push back and take back what they have taken from us. That is the only path forward. That is the only path forward. Robert Whaley says, if 500K Patriots showed up with guns on the 6th, things would be different right now. That is true. That is true. Now, I'm not saying I support them doing that. I do think we still have legal processes that we need to go through. We need to stay peaceful. I think that right now, anybody who gets violence is being suckered into exactly what the left wants. They are trying to sucker us into getting violent. That is why they are making everything... That is why they have put their agenda on overdrive, is they want to goad us into a violent reaction so that we can lose all favor in the American mind, and then they can just run roughshod from there. So be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be a sucker to their games. Now, we were talking earlier about the military has now been embracing this critical race theory, and we have this General Mark Milley who needs to be kicked out of the fucking army for this. He needs to be kicked out. He says, "I want to understand white rage." Joint Chiefs Chairman defends teaching CRT, rips offensive criticism of woke U.S. military, and so America's top military official defended the teaching of the critical race theory in the U.S. military and ripped offensive criticisms of wokeness in the armed forces. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark A. Milley gives a fiery response Wednesday when questioned by Republicans in the House Armed Services Committee about the military's embrace of CRT, taking offense at the suggestion that it undermines the military's overall mission. It undermines the mission of anything where you need unit cohesion. You cannot have unit cohesion while teaching a theory that gets people to resent, distrust, and hate each other. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and play Mark Milley's speech here.
Well, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand, and I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain...
Well, nobody tried to overturn the Constitution. That did not fucking happen. Most of the people that were there were constitutional patriots that believe the Constitution was thwarted in the 2020 election cycle.
In an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So
it certainly makes us think you might be, though, when you're sitting here defending the Marxist indoctrination of our military.
What is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago. And
Based Matt Gaetz. Based Matt Gaetz is that is a look of utter disgust and contempt. And we are offended with you, General Milley, that you are our nation's top military commander, top military officer, and you are pushing this Marxist ideology in the American Armed Services. We are offended by your entire fucking existence, Mark fucking Milley.
It proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being.
He doesn't even know his history. 3/4. No, it was 3/5. And the only reason that they were 3/5, it was the South that wanted these slaves to represent an entire person. It was the North that wanted them. That they didn't want them. They didn't want them represented in the census at all because they didn't want the South to get the representation. So it was the North. They called it the 3/5 compromise. And so it wasn't that they were considered 3/4, as he said, but it was actually 3/5 of a person. It had to do with the census and the distribution of representatives and how to count slaves, not just black people, slaves, in as part of the American populace.
This country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I are both Green Berets. But I want to know. And it matters to our military and the discipline and cohesion of this military. And I thank you for the opportunity to make a comment on that.
Thank you, General.
I'm absolutely disgusting. And, he's pushing that new woke term, white rage. What does this have to do with whiteness? It has nothing to do with white people, because I know plenty of based patriots that are black and Hispanic that are also pissed off about this critical race theory thing. There was a video that went viral the other day of this black man just going off on a school board because he was a medical supervisor, and he went through, who the hell are you to tell me that I'm oppressed? I came from the streets, and now I have people that look like you answering to me in a fucking hospital. But they need to keep us divided. They need to make sure that everything that we are defined by is defined by our race, by our gender, or our sexual orientation, all of the different boxes that they can shoehorn us into. And the more ways that they can find to divide us into more and more groups, the more we infight and the more they dominate over us. Let's see. Oops, that's just Now, you really want to tell me that they're not going fucking woke? The Air Force Base is now hosting a drag show and says it's essential for the readiness of the military. The Russians are teaching their 6-year-old children to break down and reassemble AK-47s blindfolded in the snow at 6 years fucking old. We have the Chinese saying that the men need to be more manly, that we do not need these effeminate men in our culture. We do not need to be pushing that. And what are we doing? What is our military doing? Our military is putting on drag shows for the troops, saying that it is essential for the readiness of the military. It has fucking nothing to do with the military. Absolutely nothing. So, a Nevada Air Force Base hosted a drag show for military personnel, describing it as an opportunity to learn about the significance of drag performance art. Up until about 3 years ago, nobody thought about drag queens. They made this a prominent thing by shoving them into our little kids' reading hours and by taking little kids to drag shows and sexualizing them. And now they're trying to talk about the significance of the drag performance art. Drag performance art could disappear from existence altogether tomorrow, and not a single loss to our culture would be felt. That means it is an insignificant performance art. Ensuring our ranks reflect reflect and are inclusive of the American people is essential to the morale, cohesion, and readiness of the military, Nellis Air Force Base spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Byron McGarry said in an email about the Drag You Nellis drag show. Class is in session, a flyer for the Drag You Nellis event read, inviting attendees to discover the significance of drag in the LGBT plus community. Bill Clinton signed in Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I mean, this was in the 1990s. They said, you know what? We don't need to know your sexuality. We don't need to know. Don't tell. We won't ask. Just leave it out. It's not important. And now they're trying to make it utterly important that we have these transgender cross-dressers in our military. These people who, up until 5 fucking minutes ago, would have fallen under the DCM for a mental health disorder. So, the event was described as an opportunity for the attendees to learn more about the history and significance of drag performance art within the LGBT plus community. It was hosted by the Nellis Air Force Base and the 99th Air Base Wing and was sponsored by a private organization. All these people need to know how to do is to blow shit up and not get killed. That's all our military needs to know how to do. They do not need to understand the significance and the importance of drag art in the LGBT community. They need to know how to blow up a fucking enemy base and how to not get killed doing it. Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm now more qualified than fucking General Milley. So, Nellis Air Force Base is committed to providing and championing an environment that is characterized by equal opportunity, diversity, and inclusion. God damn. I mean, the catchphrasing, like the way that they just repeat the same fucking phraseology over and over and over again, drilling it into our brains. It will drive you fucking nuts. Oh, Apollo Man is in here. What is up? Says Ram Bam. Yes, the Ram ban is over. I am out of that YouTube jail. Back with a motherfucking vengeance. Oh, we got Bonnie Zimmerman in here. Bonnie Zimmerman says the whole woke thing in the military, whether by the book list or who they allow in, is to build a military of their own against the people. Ladies and gentlemen, Bonnie Zimmerman just nailed it. Yes, it's just another in a long list of instances where the left has gone through the long march through our institutions. They are taking it over. It's a coup within the military. It is a coup within the military to push their Marxist ideology, and so that then, if the military needs to get used, they do not want defectors from the military when shit hits the fan. When they finalize their push to turn us into a communist country, they do not want people in the military defecting and fighting alongside American patriots who love this country. So they want to purge those people out. Tessian Rousseau says, they're teaching your military so when you parachute a bunch of these queens in a war zone, the enemy will die of laughter. I mean, it doesn't matter how hard you're laughing. You're still going to shoot them down. I mean, they're going to send these people as like sacrificial lambs to the slaughter against these fucking, actual military forces. Now, the critical race theory is really heating up in the schools. Oh, we got Chase Winsel in here. It says, just finished watching the man hold his rally. How was the rally? I foolishly decided to run this special stream at the exact same time that Trump was doing his rally. I shouldn't have done that, but, I wasn't able to stream on Thursday. So, anyways, oh, shit. Multiple parents were arrested at school board meeting overrun by anti-critical race theory protesters. So, 2 people were arrested at a Loudoun County, Virginia school board meeting after it was taken over by parents protesting against critical race theory. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office declared the school board meeting an unlawful assembly. Everyone told to get out or will be trespassing, Reuters reporter Gabriella Border tweeted. 2 arrests made at the Loudoun County, Virginia school board meeting after it was declared an unlawful assembly, and some parents here to protest against critical race theory and a transgender policy refused to leave right away. Guys, I'm off the Back the Blue bandwagon. I'm no longer saying Back the Blue, because we are finding out time and time again that too many of these police have no problem violating their oath to the Constitution and enforcing unlawful edicts from governors, violating our rights. And honestly, Michael Malice makes a really good point that every single cop enforces gun control legislation, which is a violation of their oath to the Constitution. They are all criminals. I mean, and it's hard to argue against that point. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I hate all cops or anything like that, but my whole idea of back the blue, I just can't support it anymore, especially when you see that situation. It was either Portland or Seattle, where some man was sitting in his home drinking a beer, and he had like an American flag and a Trump flag flying from his house, and a mob of Black Lives Matter and Antifa rioters swarmed his house, threatening to burn it to the ground, and he just stood in the window and held up that he has a shotgun, didn't point it at anybody, didn't make any threats, just showed them that he's armed, and the police came and they arrested him, because it's easier to arrest the victim than to deal with the mob. And when that kind of stuff is what's going down, then the police don't deserve our support. Why should we support that? Let's see. Bonnie Zimmerman says the PD put out a public comment saying it was the school superintendent that told them, and they actually took it. They actually listened to him. Again, that's not so let's watch a little bit of this here.
Who pays your salary?
Big turnout.
You need to be arrested!
So now this guy, 2 arrests were made at the Loudoun County, Virginia school board meeting after it was declared an unlawful assembly, and we see this guy being arrested right here. He is not going down without a fight.
John, walk with me, please. Walk with me, John. Now! Hey, John, please don't resist. You guys, this is an unlawful arrest. I have a First Amendment right.
Listen. You do, right?
You're right. Okay, thank you. Here's someone speaking rationally.
Listen to me. At this point, the meeting is over, right?
It's not over. It's not over. We were meeting. We were meeting.
If you look.
Yeah, I mean, how can you support these police? You can't. But we're seeing this time and time again. The whole Atlas gym thing in New Jersey where they shut down the gym. Can't support those police. No, fuck them. Those are not. Who was it here that just said? Robert Whaley says these cops are enforcing policy, not law. Yes, these are not. They're not there to serve and protect. They are agents of the state. And as the state becomes more corrupt, if they continue to act as agents of the state, then they are not. They don't deserve our support. No, not one bit. More live editing. Hold on. All right, so now at least one person in custody. Actually, hold on. This is what I want to show. Let's see. Loudoun County School Board ended public comment. Anti-critical race theory protesters react. And then this is great, though. They broke out into the national anthem as a show of protest. You gotta love that. Love it. Gotta love that patriotic fervor, man. All those people that showed out, man. This war over critical race theory, and this is what's so great to see, because we are seeing this critical race theory thing in people in the schools is red pilling middle America like never before. We're starting to see a bunch of mothers who wouldn't have pissed on Trump's face if his teeth were on fire are now coming out against this critical race theory because their parents are coming home, the kids are coming home from school and telling them that they're the fucking enemy. And they're like, wait, what are you talking about? So these people that were kind of, a lot of these suburban white women and that kind of thing, they are finally opening their eyes to what this leftism is, what this leftist indoctrination is going to do, because they are finally starting to see the results backfire against them in their own homes. To me, I think it's a little bit of a shame that it took that it took that happening for them to wake up and actually listen to what was going on. But whatever wakes them up, as long as they wake up, that's good. Karma Cat says, if you're in an area where police do not support you as a law-abiding citizen and your taxes are paying their salaries, that's a jagged pill to swallow. It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Tessian says, what's the difference? I think what I'm saying is you have cops that are there to serve and protect, that are there to stop legitimate crimes of one person aggressing another. So people that are trying to solve a murder or stop somebody from robbing a woman on the streets, that's the kind of police work we support. But when you are acting as an agent of the state and working as a protectionist layer against any sort of pushback against the state, that's the difference. That's the difference. One is not it's who you're serving and protecting. Are you serving and protecting the people, or are you serving and protecting the power structures? Let's see. We are right now at an hour and 45 minutes. I've got to go ahead and wrap this up. My streams were going over 2 hours, and I started realizing that once you get up to close to around 2 hours, the streams are not porting over to Odyssey. Make sure you guys follow me on Odyssey, too. Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, Gab, all that stuff. So I am going to go ahead and start wrapping this stream up, because if it goes close to the 2 hour mark, it won't port over, and I do want all of my streams to port over onto Odyssey. But let's see. Thane Mitchell, I think you're new here. Welcome to the Revved Up Rebel Nation. I hope you have enjoyed your stay. I know a lot of you guys just got here right towards the tail end here. Says homeschool your children. Yes, homeschooling the children does seem like the best option for education moving forward. It really does. Get your kid, because you can't even trust some of these private schools. What was it that I forget the name of that school? Really prestigious prep school up in New York. They were showing 6-year-old first graders videos on how to touch themselves. That is fucking child abuse. That is child abuse. So yeah, and you know what? It might also be that an increase in homeschooling might also do a little bit to reinforce the traditional gender roles that feminism has destroyed in this country. If more women start staying home to homeschool the children, what would be really great is to see different mothers staying home to homeschool the children, and having sort of like little neighborhood class sessions. Because one of the big things about homeschooling was, oh well, your kid's not going to get the same socialization. Well, what if you got to get a group of 10 kids in your neighborhood, and maybe one mother teaches them 1 week, and then they go to another kid's house, and that mother teaches them the next week? That would be an awesome way for mothers to get together, educate their kids, reinforce the social interaction that their kids need. I am all for that kind of thing. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call this a stream just because of time constraints here. So thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. My streams are typically Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you join us. Share this channel. Get the word out. Yeah, I've actually started growing again, which is a little weird. I think my Tom McDonald video picked up some new followers, and it was the first time I had really picked up followers or subscribers in quite a while. So it's good to see. Let's keep this channel growing. Let's get me to 2,000 subscribers, guys. Give me a hand here. I need some help with it. Anyways, guys, as always, rev your engines, ride hard, and fight like hell.